Hey, welcome back to Fade the Mahoney. We're gonna do our last preview, Trevor, right? Last preview.
That's right.
We
Last
made it.
preview.
We made it. Game 5.
Who'd have thought?
Last time we were here, I think we dropped the 10-1 on the Magic because they were down 2-0. It ain't 10-1 anymore. You'll give us the new updated odds in a little bit, but wow. Well, tell me whatever you want to say. Go.
I mean, first of all, that was a great game.
Which?
Second of all, why? What? The game 4 was a great game. I mean, they're both great games.
Yep.
Obviously the Magic getting contributions from other people is huge for the Magic, right? Because you can't pitch to Grant. They still keep pitching to him. You can't pitch to him. They still keep doing it. But then, if
Hold
AJ
on.
hit the walk up, yeah.
They didn't pitch to him in game 1 and everything worked out well, right?
Yes. I don't understand. They just don't even throw to him. But you can't. That's a product, right? It's a product. It's WWE. You can't just walk him every time.
Well, game 3, they pitched to him. He didn't do anything. And who did he have to rely on to pick him up? Right?
Jack.
Game 3? Jack. We got lots to talk about with Jack. I forgot to mention again, the only reason we're doing this is so that I can tack the Jorgy lock of the week on at the end of it, because he's now 9-2, which is preposterous. Sorry, I should have said that earlier. It sure seemed like they were gonna. I would have walked him in the bottom of the third, right?
Yes, absolutely. I was thinking for sure that the game was ending on that play. Like I just would never pitch him in that spot. Yeah, I mean, AJ made him pay. Not made him pay, but AJ came through in the clutch, and Jack came through in the clutch in game 3. And this is what you see in wiffle ball over the course of the years in MLW. The teams that end up winning the championship are the ones that come up with the big hits, the big home runs. In games 1 and 2, it was Landon who did that for the Eagles. Games 3 and 4 was Jack and AJ for the Magic. All it really takes a lot of times when you have this dominant pitching, all it really takes a lot of times is one big home run with a couple guys on base. And that, in 3 of the 4 games, I guess that's been the case, right? Well, actually, not just one big. In game 2, there were several big hits, but in games 1, 3, and 4, it was basically one swing of the bat in each of those games for each team.
Right. How long ago to me, it feels like it's a month since Landon was the runaway MVP, had the whole world in his hands. Seems like a month ago.
Yeah. So if the Magic win game 5, who's the MVP? I guess it might come down to who performed in that game, right?
Yeah, right now it's really tough. It's not Trevor Bonham.
No.
It's not King Curdy. Could be any of the other 3, I guess, depending on what happens. And if Jack goes yard again, God, wouldn't it be awesome if Jack won World Series MVP?
World Series MVP and Manager of the Year the same year.
I wonder how many times that's happened. All right, I got some notes I just wanted to go over here real quick. We already talked about Landon. This is a scientific question. I'm not sure how well you'll be versed in this, but what do you suppose AJ's resting pulse rate is?
Cool as a cucumber, huh, man?
Nothing phases that guy, right?
It's kind of guy you want to have on your team in the World Series, right?
Yeah, he's got 2 homers. Is that correct?
What's that?
He's got 2 homers in this series. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Yes.
If we had a betting line right now, him and Landon would be the 2 favorites, I think.
I think so too. Yeah.
At MVP, depending on who wins this game. All right.
They've won 2 out of the 3 games that he's played in.
The opposite of, well, I'm going to get back to that in a second. The opposite of that resting heart rate is Dallas. Every at bat for that guy is life or death. He cares, man, right?
Strike 3 looking off the 10.
Yeah, gift and a curse, right? You love that he cares so much about it. That he's a gamer. He's clearly a very competitive person. He's not just on the wiffle ball field. He's also a bowler off the turf of the wiffle ball field. I think he plays some other sports as well. So, you can tell he's a very competitive guy. You love to have that on the team, and I think it balances out well on the Eagles because there's not really, the Eagles don't have a ton of fiery guys, you know. So having Dallas be in that mold, it's just a matter of being able to recover. You know, if he were a poker player, he might be prone to tilt issues, and you know that's the key.
That guy hates striking out, man.
Strike three looking off the 10.
He slams the bat, but we love you, Dallas. All right. If we do, should we talk now about Jack, or should we do matchup stuff first? Which would you prefer?
Talk about Jack. Let's hear your thoughts on Jack.
All right. I think regardless of the outcome, the thing I will remember most about this series, unless something bonker happens in game 5, is Jack was really the centerpiece of this whole thing. From starting off with what I think is objectively an awful starting lineup in the first game, by not letting the possible MVP bat in AJ. Starting off there, his home run in game 3 to basically win the game. That complete cluster in game 2 when
game 2
forgot the rules of baseball or wiffle ball.
To left field, it's Dan, and it's off the wall. Oh no, Jack didn't know what happened. It's still in play, but overthrow.
And how old do you think he is? Mid-20s?
24, I think.
Right. How old were you when you learned you could run through first base?
7 or 8.
Okay, because he still hasn't learned it.
Ground ball fair to the left side. It's gonna be a single for Jack. Attaboy, Jack! Their first base runner in game 4. Let's go.
I don't understand. How do you not know he's got to get there and stop. T-ball. Jack. Buddy, come on. You're the manager of the year. All right, that's all I had to say about Jack. You got anything to say about him?
Listen, you've been his biggest detractor for a very long time. He has been a huge part of this season for the Magic.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't, you know, he's had some huge home runs. Obviously, you're going to get what you're going to get from him as a baseball, not as a non-baseball / wiffle ball player. You know, he's a lacrosse player that plays for a major league wiffle ball team, and not only plays for it, is the captain of it, and has showed out on the biggest of stages, despite not even really knowing how to swing a baseball bat.
Not knowing how. Do you think over the long run, who's a better hitter between him and King Curdy over the long run?
I think he's a better hitter for sure. Curdy's not a very good hitter.
I'm not sure. I am not sure. You and I were texting back and forth after, I think it was game 3, when we were talking about his home run, and you said that's the highest home run you had ever seen. Do you have any idea why that would happen? What is it that results in it going so high?
I mean, it'd have to be an uppercut swing, but it didn't even look like an uppercut swing. So I'm not even sure exactly what happened to allow the ball to take that flight path, but it was up there for sure.
As I had mentioned to you, I think it has something to do with closing your eyes before you swing. I think might make it go up. All right. All right. That's all my notes I had for Jack. Let's do a real quick preview. Pitching matchup wise, I think this is pretty easy. For 100%, we're going to see Dallas. You'd agree with that, right?
Yes.
I'm not 100%. I'm like 90% that it's going to be RJ, but I'm not 100%. What do you think?
I would expect it to be RJ. The one thing that I will note from the Pipe It Up podcast, if you listened to it last week, they were talking about how RJ could not throw a screwball to save his life in game 1. And it looked like in game 4 that he didn't throw it very often either. It looked like he was just throwing lots of sliders, lots of slide drops, everything moving from left to right. And that would be an area of concern as the Magic manager that I'd have, that, you know, eventually sliders are going to get hit. And his has been really good in this series. You know, the one that he struck Dallas out on, where Dallas was looking on it, that doesn't happen very often with a slider. Very, very few pitchers, maybe Jimmy Norp is the one I can think of, that can start that slider at the person and freeze them and take it, you know, have it hit the tin. It's just an easier pitch to hit. I can say that from experience from the backyard. I know that my slider against Andrew is my get me over pitch. If I can't throw strikes, I got to throw it. And just the other day, he took it yard for a grand slam against me that won the game. So, I have a lot of experience with that. And I think that's what could happen to RJ if they throw him out there again for game 5.
Yeah, that's why I kind of think we've had our fun with Trevor Bonham over the years. But generally this year, he has been very, very good on the mound. And he had a bad outing in game number 2, right?
Yeah.
And RJ has thrown the last 2 games. I kind of think I would go to Trevor Bonham. Just trust.
I would too.
You would too,
I
huh?
would too. Yeah.
All right, you and I, same page, thinking they should start Bonham in game 5, but neither of us think it's going to happen. All right. Other than that, any other thoughts before you give us the new line? Any other thoughts, a strategy, or anything?
I mean, not the biggest factor, but one of the big factors here is the Eagles have home field. So they're going to be the home team in this game, which I think is pretty important.
That's a good point. And again, that is all determined by the All-Star game, right?
Correct.
So all because of Drew Davis and his terrible whatever managing he was doing in there. The Eagles get to bat last in the last game. All right, that's good to know. All right, what do we got?
That Drew always has his fingerprints on something somehow.
Yeah. All right, let's do the new line. We started off the series as the Magic a slight favorite at -120. When we met in the middle of the series, we had these guys at -1,000, so you could get 10-1 on the Magic. One game, winner take all. Game 5, best 2 words in all of wiffle ball. What do we got?
I mean, we've seen across these 4 games that the teams are pretty evenly matched. I think, it's going to come down to one big hit. So when that's the case, you can't make the line too big. I think it's got to be, I think you put the Eagles as a favorite as the home team with Dallas pitching. And I think you make it -125.
Wow. Okay. I did not see that coming. -125 on the Eagles. Obviously, if we were betting, I would take the Magic because I would like the extra juice on there. But again, from the beginning of the playoffs, I drafted them, you drafted them, so we have a bet anyway. Let's just hope it's another good one. They've all been exciting in their own way, right?
Yeah, I mean, the reason I took the Eagles as a favorite is 1, them being the home team, 2, Dallas not pitching the last game, and 3, if RJ is the pitcher, this will be his 3rd straight game. If he's not the pitcher, Bonham's now coming into a situation where he hasn't pitched since game 2. Obviously, it's all filmed on the same day, but it's still, you never know. He looked shaky in the first inning for sure, and then I think he settled down. Well, no, then they put Grant in, so you don't know.
Yeah. Magic are 2-0 as long as Grant doesn't have to pitch, right? So
that's right.
That's where it comes down to. All right. The only thing they hoped for, I guess, when they showed up in Atlanta is that they played 5 games and they got it. Shout out to them for changing jerseys every game. It's a nice little touch. All right, that's our last preview of this Major League Wiffle Ball season. A lot of fun. Regardless of what happens, I think I beat you for a little money this year, so good for me on that. But none of this matters. Oh, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
I was going to say what else is new, but this is wrapping up our 2nd full season, but our 3rd season of coverage, correct?
That's correct. Yep. 2nd full
Pretty cool.
season. We have 2 pretty extensive previews in the archives for the past couple of years that were really good stuff. If you guys want to go back and check it out, this year we were joined by Jimmy Norp, who's way more knowledgeable than we were. I'm sure we'll be back together to do some sort of recap. Hopefully, have 1 or 2 of the combatants on the team. Would love to get Jack. Would love it.
That'd be great.
Probably unlikely, but we'll do our best. All right, that's it. Again, this is only mildly important. Money making is coming up with Jorgy 9-2 on the season. So, Trevor, good to see you, and everybody else, good gambling.
All right, we are back again. That's another win. People around these parts here in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan are really talking about the Detroit Lions. Great season they're having, 8-2. But I don't know if it's the best thing happening in Detroit. I think it's my picks over here, 9-2. Lions are half game back of me. I'm also undefeated at home. did a couple road games in Dallas, lost both of those, but we're back, we're hot. And this one, let's wait a little bit to find out this one. I'm going the Monday night game, Vikings-Bears. I'm taking Vikings -3.5. Vikings have been hot. They unfortunately went on the road last week to a hot Denver team and barely lost that game. But I still think they're a solid squad. I think Dobbs is doing a good job for them. The Bears, the Lions played terrible last week, and, the Bears still ended up choking that game. I still think they have a long way to go. Justin Fields is back. He's great, but I still think he's going to turn over the ball. That defense is still a little iffy. So I think the Vikings get it done. I kind of was surprised by that line. I thought it'd be a little more than 3.5 with the Vikings being at home. So I think, scrolled all the way down, found the last game, and I think that's what I'm going to go with. So, put your money on the Vikings. We're still rolling this year.